Lord, I want to lift up these paranormal investigators to you and what it is that they are doing. I pray that you protect them, Lord, and that you look after them as they begin their investigation. Let nothing follow them. Let no spirit or any activity in them persist. Allow them to use your wisdom, Lord. Equip them and guide them, Lord, as necessary. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Stimson.
Yes. You're welcome. I'll be praying for you guys. Stay safe.
Yes, appreciate it.
What is that?
What is that? Oh, it's Josh.
So the REM pod, we are now in the basement at the, is that a rat?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the T-Pit Paranormal YouTube channel. We are here in Eaton Rapids, Michigan at the Stimson Hospital. We got two of the main suspects. We got Jeff and Casey, and we got two newbies, Jesse and Mario. And we're going to be spending the night here, and you guys will not want to miss some things that we have planned. Stay tuned. You guys can get this cool merch at shoptpit.com.
Link in description.
We got hoodies. We got more hoodies. We got more hoodies. We got t-shirts and a whole bunch of new stuff coming out here shortly. So you do not want to miss the new drop that is coming out in July. You guys do not want to miss it.
I have a t-shirt.
Rapids just as the city.
Yeah.
And he kind of was like, kind of feels weird a little bit, and then he turned, and then here was the building.
Oh, dude, I mean, and you drive by this place, and it's just larger in life. It's like, oh, fuck, what's that? You know, and it is. Well, this whole tiny commune was actually built on Indian burial grounds. This was an Indian camp like 10,000 years ago, and it was huge. So a lot of these people in these neighborhoods go dig it up the backyard, put it in a pool or something. hit burial mounds and bodies and stuff. So there is a lot of bizarre shit that goes on around here locally. But this place, on the other hand, this place was built as a mansion. It was actually finished in 1874. It was built by a guy named John Sweezy. And so good old John was a con artist. His whole shtick was he would roll into a town. This is like the 1850s, I mean, so, you know, for reference, the 1890s was the fucking Wild Wild West, where if you don't like the dude because he's spitting your drink, you shoot him dead, and it's like, oh, clean the body. I'm not touching the body, you know, you're all good. So he would roll into a town and start up a business and get a bunch of people to invest in it. Then he just fucking split with the money. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't call. Fucker stole my money. He's headed west on a horse. Shoot him. You know?
Right.
And you could. What'd you do with the body? Left it in the ditch? You get your money back? Yep. We're good. Carry on, citizen. So he left New York and actually headed into Eaton Rapids just at the time they were having what they called a mineral water craze. So some dude went to drill a new well in his basement and hit this brown shitty ass water. It was full of minerals. And so it'd be very rusty and stuff. But when you drank it, it would act like a diuretic, and it would make you shit yourself for a week. I mean, and so they figured, well, gee, I feel so much better after shitting myself for that whole week. I mean, because think about their diet in those days.
Right.
You know, and so, I mean, what do you do if you go to California and do a cleanse? Well, after you spend $3,000, you shit yourself for a week. You know, so here you are doing it here. And so it literally overnight just turned into like a gold rush town. I mean, they were getting up to 16 trains a day coming into Little Depot with over 100 people each on it, rolling into town to try to think they were getting this miracle cure, which cured everything. I mean, it was crazy. They were actually selling this shit for up to $150 for a case of 12 bottles of shit water in 1850. That's a $5,000 case of Ice Mountain.
Yeah.
Hopefully you shit less. But still, I mean, that's a lot for water. They actually, buildings sprung up, a bunch of hotels sprung up. People that had extra rooms in their house would rent them out to the people coming in. It got so bad they had to put fences around the train depot because the hookers were just like, they want that money too, you know. Don't care if you shit, give me money. So it was a huge thing. So when John rolled into town, he figured, well, I'm going to do a different score. So he built this mansion. No expenses spared. It was all state of the art. It was unheard of. There was no fireplace. It was all boiler-based heat, which was brand new then. So the boiler room was literally like a small enclosed tank. It's got a blast door and everything, a steel reinforced cement ceiling and shit, because, you know, boilers were new. If you ever seen any of those old black and whites where the train's drawn on a track and it just says, well, you can compress water, but don't let it get out of hand. You know, water's one of the densest materials on earth. And you let it go, ton of TNT right there. So everything, all the outside details we see that we've kind of started painting over the last few years, that's all hand-leaded, hand-hammered tin that they actually cut out one little tiny piece at a time in the yard with these great big huge presses that they would pull it up with a horse and they would let it go and stamp out these little pieces, one piece at a time, in somewhere around here. I haven't heard that I started rebuilding. And so when we bought the place 8+ years ago, in the basement was this giant box of freaking shards of tin. And it was like, what the fuck is that? It looked like a bad jigsaw puzzle out of like the Saw movies or something, you know, it's all sharp edges and shit. And in 1976, there was a bad fire. It burned the 3rd story down. It burned for over 4 hours before it was even noticed, because this is what's called a Second Empire design. It's not a Victorian design architecturally. Second Empire is actually a French architectural design. Just 1 second. And part of that, Roger, is that it has what's called a mansard style roof. That's a very steep slope to the 3rd floor, and it had steel railings around the top, and it's all slate, so it's all stone.
Right.
So literally nothing to catch fire. So it burned for 4 hours until it got so hot, it melted the windows and blew out all the glass up there. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, look, a fire. Oh, it was already gutted by then. This is what it looked like when it was first turned into a hospital. Pass that around, which gets a little ahead of my story. So when they put the fire out, they basically blew all the little ornaments, you know, where we came in right out here, under that overhang. That whole overhang is all tin. It's all metal. And there's supposed to be 4 of these. I only were stored. Two on each side down, two on the top facing up, and then one little center spire thing. But the funny thing is, since these were all stamped out by hand one at a time, the pieces that go to this particular one of four won't fit any of the pieces that go to the other one of four. So you wouldn't be able to put them together to have the symmetry match. It just wouldn't work. And they have to be soldered from the inside out, which is really fucking hard.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
And this is 100% tin. You can't buy 100% tin anymore. They use tin to make a variety of alloys. You can buy carbon steel and all sorts of galvanized steel and shit, but you cannot buy 100% tin. So recreating these has just been a bitch. And I've got exactly one of them done. Woo! But back to good old John. So John gets into Eden Rapids and the mineral water thing's going on. He starts up a hardware store downtown. Gets a bunch of people to start putting money into it, builds this mansion, figures that, man, I'm gonna fleece the upper echelon this time. I'm not just going for penny ante shit. Luckily, somebody in town caught on to his ass and they ran him out of town. So dipshit set the house on fire on his way out. That was the first fire. Luckily, the family that had bought the place in foreclosure had already fully insured it.
Okay.
And so when they put the fire out, which didn't destroy the entire structure the first time, they put it right back. It was a mansion for over 40 years. So just rich people owned it. I mean, it was one of the more affluent houses for 100 miles around. So it had been pretty wealthy. Well, a dentist family owned it for quite some time. He owned it all the way up till about 1918. And their names were Puffin Burgers, which is kind of weird. So 1918, this woman shows up, knocks on his door. Well, if you think about 1918, that was actually the end of the Spanish flu epidemic. 200 million dead people across the planet. So a lot of smaller communities were wanting to put medical institutions up, small hospitals, clinics, whatever, so they'd have a little closer medical care, So this woman shows up. Her name was Harriet Chapman. Now, Harriet was a nurse. In 1918, nurses weren't thought of just this side of prostitutes. The reason for that is because nurses would have to be fairly intimate with all classes of people. Black dude runs in with his arm chopped off, you got to change his bedpan. So if you're some rich white motherfucker who's racist as shit, because they all were and still are, you're not going to want your wife or your daughter or whoever you care about to have to deal with those people changing their bedpan and stuff. So being a nurse was kind of sketchy business. But she came from a very wealthy family. Her family was big into coal production. Well, coal production in the middle 1800s, that was the shit. That was the oil barons. That was, because everything was coal. Everything was coal. And so they were very wealthy. So she showed up, knocked on dude's door, said, I'd really like to buy your building and turn it into a hospital. And it must have just thrown stupid amounts of money to do, because in 30 days, all this shit was out. And they started renovating the building. So in 6 months, they turned the mansion into a hospital. They had to augment the floors. So all the tile you see out there, that's actually marble. And it's set into 4 inches of concrete. Because gurneys in 1918 were fucking cast iron. So without even putting a big old ass patient on it, this thing weighs 200 pounds already. And they had these big steel wheels with this much of a rubber band on the outside. Not going to take it in. So if you roll that across the regular floor, you're just going to splinter the shit out of it. 500-600 pounds.
Right.
So they did that, and then they put an elevator in the central tower. One of the things about a Second Empire home was you had a central observation tower. Just so you get up to the top and look down on your fucking neighbors. I'm rich. You're not. I mean, that's what you did. Everything was glass doors. So they put an elevator in there and covered all the floors, painted all the surfaces. Harriet, who founded and funded and created the entire thing, being a woman doing that in 1918 was just unheard of. You couldn't vote, you couldn't do shit. You stayed in and you made your man a sandwich if he fucking wanted it. Yeah. That's what you did. And so for her to bankroll and to actually brainchild this entire thing was just a stupendous achievement for her to do. And so she brought on some really top-notch talent. The couple doctors she brought on were actually buddies from U of M, and it was a Dr. Francis Blanchard and a Dr. Charles Stimson. Now, have any of you guys done any research on the history of the place at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've probably at least heard and know about what happened to Dr. Blanchard. So, but Harry brought these guys on and started the hospital up, and at the moment it was still called the Harriet Chapman Hospital, because it was all her, it was her money, her everything. So Dr. Blanchard kind of had a bit of a bad turn of luck towards the end of his career, even before he got here. So his first wife actually died under his knife in surgery. So Dr. Blanchard was a gastroenterologist, so all gastric issues, things like that. And she had a gastric issue, and she died in surgery under his knife. So that kind of leaves a mark. Dude, that was your wife, you know. You could feel a little guilty after that. Right? So after that, his second wife and their unborn child died under his knife in surgery. Totally unrelated, but still complications. I mean, those days, man, you could die from a fucking toothache. We didn't know a lot about bacteriological infections, anything like that, you know, sepsis, staph infection, any of that shit. The larger major cities were finally starting, some of the scientists trying to determine some of that shit, but most of the little guys out in the rural areas didn't know shit. And Harriet was actually way ahead of that game. But so after that, Dr. Blanchard got hit by a train in his Model T. So Model T, you've seen them. Fucking go-kart with wooden goddamn wheels. The airbags, it's air. You know, so that's not gonna help a lot. So he almost died. He was in a critical condition in a coma for like 6 months. So after that, he kind of said, well, fuck that town. And then that's when he actually moved on and took Harriet up on her offer to come be a physician at her new hospital. He was here approximately 6 months. And after finishing surgery up on the 3rd floor, he went to step into the elevator. Well, it was parked in maintenance mode, so there it wasn't. So you see how tall that tower is. For all the way up there, all the way down, face first, into the elevator pit. So that's almost a 50-foot drop to your head. Because it's big. I mean, it's half the size of this room. And so if you just walk in naturally and there's nothing to grab onto, you're just going, swan dive. You're it. And Dr. Stimson was actually downstairs in the morgue. And it's literally from here to just about the corner of that wall. And when Dr. Blanchard landed, head first after a 45-foot fall. So, you know, he heard it, even felt that. Just thud and splat and God knows what else. And died almost instantly. Dr. Stimson rushed over just in time to see recognition in Dr. Blanchard's eyes, but since he landed face first, he couldn't talk. I mean, nothing left of his skull. And then he died. It was it. And he's been one of the more prevalent spirits. Even back in the 70s when they finally closed the hospital and turned it into apartments, young families that had toddler-aged children would go on about how they're weird, their kid's imaginary friend had this really strange name. It wasn't Bobby or Sue or some shit. It was like Blanchard. And kids don't make this shit up.
Right.
And so multiple families over decades had that same story. This was the 70s. Ain't no social bullshit, nothing, man. If it wasn't in the paper or on the 3 channels you got on the fucking TV, you didn't know it. That was it. And so this same persistent story kept coming up. But the place was actually a hospital till 1957. So fire code changed to the point where you had to have an external air-isolated staircase. If you ever go to the hospital taking the stairs, you're actually in an almost entirely separate building. It doesn't share airspace or anything with that internal structure. So it's completely hermetically sealed. Because if it wasn't, that's not an escape route.
Right.
The smoke should be there, and nothing worse being in a staircase full of fucking smoke. Smoke is what kills 99% of anybody in a fire. It's not catching on fire, it's breathing toxic fumes.
Right.
And that's what takes you out. So it turns out it would have been like 50 grand, and this is the 50s still, to renovate the building to that. And so the town folk just said, yeah, no. And so they started collecting money, and without federal funding or even state funding, I mean, bake sales, sold weed, all sorts of shit. But they came up with like 250 grand, which is a lot for a little community like this. And so they just went a mile down the road and built a new hospital. They put all the patients on floats and had a parade. Get them out of here. And then that was it. So over the time it was a hospital, almost 4,000 people were born in this building. Over 3,000 people died within the walls in this building. So this isn't that large of a structure, and that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you guys are ghost hunters, so despite any religious leanings you may or may not have, we're electrochemical meat sacks. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to you that electricity doesn't make work. So electrical impulses, everything, that's everything you are. When a meat sack dies, you cannot destroy energy. It has to do something. Energy residual hauntings is most of what we detect and we see as ghost hunters. So this place is always active as fuck, because that's a lot of coming and going for a small structure. And it just seems to have hung on to it. And so we get everything from shadow figures to poltergeist activity to just all sorts of crazy shit. And most of the teams that come here will come back 3, 4, or 5 times because every time they come back, it's different. There's no, okay, well, what's the most active room? Pick one.
The entire building.
I mean, right, it really is the entire building. But yeah, so after it shut down and wasn't a hospital anymore, they turned it into apartments. And that's when the big fire happened in '76. And just some dude on the 3rd floor did something, electrical fire, something. And like I said, it burned 4 hours before anybody even noticed. And after that, the city gave them like until summer to fix it, or we're turning it into a parking lot. So if somebody bought it and thought, oh, well, we'll turn it into apartments. You can get $1 per square foot up here for an apartment. There's a lot of dollars in this place, for square footage. And so it was, oh, cha-ching, and dude put it all back. And so the guy was an electrical contractor, which is kind of cool because every bit of wiring in this building now is all in shielded conduit, which means you will have no spurious electromagnetic fields. You catch something on an EMF meter and you don't have it shoved up the ass of an outlet, you've got something. Make sure you verify it with multiple instruments. That's just what it is. Yeah, we get a lot of really good shit with tactile devices, cat balls, stuff like that actually have to be touched. Things like REM pods and proximity devices work really well here. Use them in conjunction with each other. I mean, I've seen it work just amazing down in a freaking boiler room, and you'd be amazed at how you can actually have a full conversation with something and they will touch that fucking cat ball every time.
Yeah.
And it's just really crazy. I actually have a video I'll show you of some shit flying across the table that no other explanation for, since I didn't make it happen. But yeah, so that kind of brings us up into even the 70s, 80s. A local doctor actually bought the building and he wanted to move his practice in here. So he's the one that got rid of that really cool looking fucking porch and made this room out here because he didn't want to change the internal structure of the hospital. There were still doctors from out of state coming in and actually renting the space for an office and then working their practices out of those offices.
Okay.
So they did that for a while until finally he retired, and then he sold the building to the contractor who decided to turn it into apartments. It's all going to be good. The elevator tried to kill a couple more times. Several nurses fell down it and broke legs and other things. Some guy was trying to move into the apartment back in the 70s and somehow dropped a piece of his luggage down underneath, and as he crawled under there and tried to get it, the elevator started coming down on him and almost crushed him to death down in the pit. So he didn't move in. He just said, yeah, fuck that, I'm out. The place has had rumors literally for its entire existence. And so a lot of the townsfolk, they'll go by and say, But here's the thing though. So there's nothing malevolent here whatsoever. The spirits here will prank you. It usually pranks women a little bit more than it does guys. It'll literally dry hump their leg half the night. And when these cats numb, yeah, just hang on a minute, let me finish. It's good. You'll be fine. Just like, you're doing good, man. Oh, you go. Okay, we're done. I mean, but it might pull your hair, it might grab your shoulder, it might stupid shit like that. You might hear strange voices and stuff. And the EVPs around here aren't like the fucking bullshit you see on TV. So like. It's just beer in the fridge.
Yeah, right.
How the fuck did you get beer in the fridge? That's not words.
Right.
And you see the text here says, I didn't hear that. How the fuck did you hear that? What have you been smoking? And we literally get women sobbing and children laughing and shit. And I mean, just plain as day, like, the fuck with that in my ear. So stuff like that happens. First of just a couple of public service announcements. Do not be angry at anyone in this building. Don't have any. This place will amplify your anger and turn it into rage, and it will fuck you up. The place does not react well to bad, negative energy. It does react well to positive energy. So if you're happy-go-lucky and just want, the truth is out there kind of stuff, the house will do tricks for you. It'll hang with you all night. You'll have a great time. Just don't be. And I've had teams come in, be pissy about one thing or another, and then they end up raging all night, not knowing what the fuck they're doing. They're like, I don't know what came over me. Dude, I told you not to be pissed off in this house.
Right.
There's a lot of energy in this house. It'll glom onto and amplify whatever it is you've got going on. So you've got to be careful of that. We do have one doll in the house that is actual demonic spirit, and she's good and happy-go-lucky unless you don't follow her rules. And that's Adia. She's out in the other room there, and I will show her to you after we get to the end of the tour. Adia's whole shtick is that if you want to interact with her, get in her personal space, we are interacting, we're conversating, we're talking back and forth. You can take all the pictures of who you want, you can look at her stuff, you can look at her, you can read her plaque, all that shit's fine. The moment you address her, you've passed that threshold and you're now requesting some of her time. To do that, you better offer her some respect. And I don't give a fuck what it is. It could be a penny out of your pocket. It could be a gum wrapper. It could be pocket lint. As long as you mean it with, okay, I really just want to offer you some respect. I'd like a little bit of your time. You know, you offer some respect, and then again, that all works out fine. If you fuck around and find out, she will follow you home. You have night terrors right around 3 or 4 weeks, which means you wake up screaming in the middle of the night because you think something's getting you, and it's not, but everybody else thinks it is. And you'll do that repeatedly, night after night. I've had pro teams fuck around and find that out. Oh man, nothing, and they piss the deal off and say, They start posting the next couple of days, man, I keep freaking everybody out because I wake up screaming. Duh. Dude, told you. So again, there's anything else in the house, there's nothing malevolent, there's nothing bad, nothing will hurt you, but you still got to pay attention to the rules. So we had a team come in, they had a real young girl as one of their team members, and they're standing out on the sidewalks smoking, because that's the only place you can do anything like that, is out on the sidewalk. And she's just going, she's like 17. She's just going on about how the place they were just at, some big mausoleum the night before, was just bullshit, and all the money they paid, they better fucking be better here, and they better do something here, we're paying all this money, just going on. And you don't do that. You don't do that. You know, you always have to have respect for the place you're investigating. Always. It ain't like TV. You can't touch me! Bitch, I'm not only going to touch you, you know. And so I get a call at about 4 a.m. from this girl. And she's fucking going on, and she's all crazy excited. Oh my God, something just bit my face. And so she sent me a selfie of a goddamn human fucking full almost circle bite marks on the outside of her cheek. I mean, down to almost breaking the skin. And then scratched her back. And I don't mean like little red marks. I mean bloody furrows down her back. And then I'm thinking like, oh fuck, oh my God. You know, I'd heard her talking shit out there about, whatever. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I can't believe that happened. Oh no, it was awesome. It bit your fucking face. That was great, we want to come back. But it bit your fucking face. Oh no, it's great, we will. Don't, why you call me at 4 a.m. then? You know, just go with it, go and think. But again, don't piss off the house. I mean, it's happened. It's really an odd place. It has its own mojo. And as long as you are okay with being cool with it, it'll be cool with you. I mean, the guy that lives in the back, he has shit happen all the time. He'll wake up in the middle of the night because somebody's sitting on the end of his bed, and if he flips the light on, there's a butt print in his covers. But he just says, turns the light back off and goes to bed. And he'll get to the point where he'll go, man, I got to get up earlier. Can you please not turn the light on at fucking 3 a.m. like you always do? Because in the middle of the night, just shit comes on. And so he gets along good with it, and it gets along good with him, and everything's happy-go-lucky. He kind of gets a kick out of actually being able to live in a haunted house that's Facebook famous. Whatever the fuck that means. So we are slowly but surely turning it into a bed and breakfast, which is it was the initial plan when we first saw the place. Just driving by and said, oh man, that'd make a great bed and breakfast, because it does, it looks larger than life.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything about the paranormal aspects of it. My wife and I had done paranormal research for 20 years and had no clue. We just thought it'd be a great bed and breakfast. Right. And then once we finally started doing research, I said, holy shit. And then as we worked on the place, we've seen and heard just some crazy, crazy shit. And it just happens all the time. It doesn't matter if it's light, dark, in between, it doesn't give a shit. It just happens. So that's the long and short of part of it. I'm going to walk you around the place, and then I've got some just totally the actually worst and scariest shit you'll ever see in your life, and it's not ghosts, it's the medical equipment we've got from the fucking 1900s. Because you did not want to be sick in the 18 or 1900s. Yeah. The shit they did to make you better, just let me fucking die. You don't want this. Just, you're going to do what with that? I'm good. I'm feeling better. I'm gonna go now. I'm way better now. I'm not dead yet. So yeah, that's the scariest part about the whole place. And strangely enough, and it's all used. It's all stuff, 100, 150 plus 200 years old. And it's all been used for its intended purposes and probably some unintended purposes. So there's got to be any manner of mojo and strange energy associated with even all of those tools. I mean, I have cranial drills. I have, lobotomy tools. Who knows how many childhood memories that shit's erased?
Right.
Again, it's and so it's all right here in the confines of this building, and it just bounces off like pinballs, So
And just
I will
with
start
that
with.
equipment, there's going to be energy with that.
Well, and that's
equipment, for sure.
right. That's just it. I mean, you got to figure that since what we literally are is energy, and if it's residual stays around, some of them might rub off on something that altered your life and changed your life.
Right.
And that's why they say that pivotal moments are what create hauntings. So it could be good, it could be bad. It could be the most favorite moment you had in your life, one of the best experiences you had, or it could be the worst experience you had. Still will leave behind residual energy, and that may equal to a haunting.
Right.
I have a really cool picture I'll show you of something that happened upstairs and by the birthing room, and it could have gone either way. It could have been the end of that person's life, or it could have been the beginning of that person's life. I mean, with 4,000 people being born here, that's a lot of births.
Right.
And back in those days, and they did some weird shit. I mean, they literally, and we actually met a couple of the nurses that worked here. When we did one of our first presentations, there was this tiny little freaking 90-year-old women sitting in front chatting and stuff. It turns out they were fucking nurses that worked in this hospital. I'm going, why am I talking to you ladies? Stand the fuck up and tell me what you know.
Right.
Because there's no records. I mean, my wife did a lot of research to find out the stuff that we know. But it's impossible to get on top of it all. Because, I mean, as important as this place was, this town, you think I'd have some pictures of the inside of it. No, not a single one. When it was in the hospital stage.
Right.
And I know photos were expensive in 1918 and harder to get. And you had some dude going, smile! But, the flash goes off and no eyebrows. But still, got nothing. So, the room we're in right now, this was actually the emergency room. All right, this was most recently just a bathroom and a kitchen. And the apartments in this building were just giant. I mean, the guy in the back, he's got 1,600 square foot and 3 stories for his apartment. And from there they went down to 1,500, then down to 1,400, and the tiny apartment was 900 square foot, which is still a pretty good size apartment.
Right.
And this was part of that. That door wasn't there. This door wasn't there. This was all just one closed room, and you would have to go outside and go to the separate entryways to get into the different portions of the building, which sucks when you're trying to work on it. And while I was in here working, I had to pull all the cabinets off, and they did such a shitty job of it that the drywall had to come down. And when the drywall came down, I discovered there was a doorway here. And then there used to be a sink and a toilet over here. And when I was chopping out the drain for the sink, I noticed molding behind a hole that I dug with a sawzall. I said, fuck, is that molding? And so I ripped the drywall off and, oh, look, another door. And so now I got a hallway. And the funny thing is 8 fucking foot doors. I just can't go to Lowe's and get a new door for this bitch. You have to have it custom made, and they're expensive as shit. That's just how they rolled those days. The ceilings you see, and all throughout the house, they look tall because they may be 10 foot, even 12 foot in couple spots. They were 16 foot when it was a mansion. There's 6 foot of dead space above every single ceiling in here. And when they turned it into apartments, they dumbed it down because they were going to have to pay the utilities on it. But when it was a mansion, you'd be fucking clouds and shit. I mean, 16 foot is really, really tall.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy how big and how high the ceilings were. And we've been slowly trying to recover and restore all that. Since dude restored from the fire in the 70s, it was all shag carpeting and stucco. All shag carpeting and stucco. And so all these beautiful marble floors all had shag carpeting on them. And for some dumb fuck reason, they glued the carpet padding down with liquid nails and construction adhesive. Dude, gravity taking a break today. It stays where you put it. Why are we gluing that down? Because then you can put this heavy ass shag carpeting on top of it. But yeah, so as we try to break that out and pull it all up, and then pull up the padding, it didn't. And it just left all these little squirrely ass, bits of glue with little strips of foam on it. And then so the only way to get rid of that is just sit on your ass with adult beverage in one hand and razor blade in the other hand and scrape on it for hours. That's the only thing that works. And it's the same thing for the wooden floors. Every single floor in this building is like 1.5 inch tongue and groove solid oak. Just beautiful floors. covered it up with this linoleum shit. In 1918, linoleum was you would lay down roofing tar paper, roll it out, and then this weird burlap bagged fiber shit, and this was way before asbestos. You would roll that down, and then you'd hit it with a flamethrower, and it would literally melt into the wood surface. I'm still peeling it off, so it's good for at least 100 years. You know, so I mean, you can get that shit out of the stuff at Lowe's. But yeah, the same thing goes when you pull that tile up, or what's left of it anyway. What's left is that tar paper was sublimated into the wood. So yeah, adult beverage, razor blade, scrape on that shit for hours, and then finally you can resurface it by sanding it. And luckily, since it's 1.5 inches thick, you can gouge it up pretty good and still be able to take enough off to make a good surface out of it. We've done that with exactly one room so far, and we're working on others. It's just me and the wife pretty much doing it, and I've got 2 sons, which means it's just me and the wife doing it. You know, teenagers. So we're going to wander around a little bit. I'm going to show you kind of where we're going to go and what to expect or not in any of the rooms. We'll run her down into the basement in the morgue, and then we'll go through and I'll show you some of the neat stuff in the medical museum, and then I'm going to bugger it off and you guys are good to go. Cool. And I said, I mean, we usually say 8 to 8, but you're good till 9 a.m. if you want. It doesn't matter. The only reason we try to cut it off is 8, because in case the church has something going on when we have big groups, I make them park across the road, and I don't want them to be in the way of the church stuff. I mean, church is okay with us parking people over there, but if they have an event, I don't, want to take up their space.
Right.
So, so yeah, so this was the emergency room. Now there are 2 bathrooms going right now, functional. There's one on the other side of this door. It actually says restroom, and there's one upstairs. And I'll show you that one when we get there. This way.
I wanted the camera for this, bro. Casey, I really wanted to get the camera for this.
So this was actually Dr. Stimson's room. Oh, and that weird little cat, it may or may not wake up and follow you around in the night.
Cool.
And there's a weird story with that. It was,
Too close.
we bought it a long time ago. It was my son's. And 3 years plus ago, it got shoved downstairs in the basement. Just trim work out here is actually pretty cool.
Snow on the ground.
Oh, by the way, PSA, this is a one-way door. You guys will be using that door in and out for most of the night. You can come out this door, but electronically it will lock. And so you won't be able to get back in, but you can use that door, yeah.
Okay.
And so all of this stuff, this is all metal, every bit of it, every inch. This was the first one we actually tried to get off, but the paint started peeling. Didn't know it all looked like that before.
Okay.
So every single little leaf on there, every little piece is all a separate piece. It was all stamped and cut one at a time, soldered together, and then bricked into the building. It's not bolted on it. It's actually bricked into the building. Take it pull right off. So that's a bitch. You have to Dremel tool the shit out of it all the way down to it's totally spotless, and then use this special metal paint, which still sucks because it's coming off. It's like $250 a gallon, and then the gold trim is $500 a gallon. That's why people don't paint their houses gold.
Right.
Well, that's a problem.
So that point going back to the 1920s.
Right? Well, again, that's just it. Because we did some research on the color schemes and stuff, and that's what we came up with that color scheme. Everything was. It was overdone, it was gaudy, it was the roaring 20s.
Right.
It was large and light, it was big. So, this back to right where that eavesdrop is right there, that's where the cinder block wall goes all the way to this, to the attic. Well, you won't hear, Jason, there's only one spot where you might get some audio contamination in the building, and we're about to see it right now, and that's the stairs going down into the basement.
Okay.
That's directly underneath the kitchen.
Okay.
But when they watch TV, you got to turn the floor, they sleep on the third floor. So obviously you're trying to do a sleeping all that night.
Right.
They do have a little yapper dog, but usually when we have gigs, they try to keep it under control. So again, you won't hear them from anywhere in that side of the building.
Okay.
You might, if you're down the basement, just down that stairway, you might hear it there.
Okay.
All right, come on around this way. know, dude that lived here just died recently. That was actually the nurses' quarters when this was a hospital. Yeah, so all the nurses stayed right there next door. Alright, be careful on the stairs. Now in there, that was actually the cafeteria. Not just full of nonsense. Yeah, make sure you pull that door shut. The next door neighbors have a cat. It's a really cool cat, but you do not want that thing rubbing up against your leg when you're the pitch black fucking window and going, well, show us a sign. Ah! Fuck, not like that. So this was actually a bathroom and a shower for the doctors and nurses, which is a little weird because your cohorts are eating right there.
Right.
You know, if you come out with a towel on your junk like you do, it's like, oh man, oh, is that meatloaf today? No, the morgue is 20 foot that way. I don't think that's meatloaf. We're done here. So yeah, kind of an odd spot. Now here we're gonna go into the boiler room. There is a small divot out of the floor. It's covered with carpet. It does not lead to the depths of hell because I'd charge a lot more money. But don't trip and die because I've seen American Horror Story. You fucking die here, you're on my next tour. Play nice with the guests. It's all good. No way, just don't care. It's not like it has huge capacity. Alright, so this was what's that? A lot, yeah. No, it's usually very active. And there's a reason for that. So this was and is clearly boiler room because look, boilers. But in the day of the hospital days, this would have been completely filled, this entire space, with a big old octopus-looking furnace. But it was a boiler, probably 400-gallon boiler. Okay, and so again, since it was sketchy technology, there's the coal chute that would have fed it. But the entire room is lined in stone, block, brick, and a steel-reinforced cement ceiling. And then a self-closing glass door that was actually counterweighted and would close and latch into this huge steel frame. And this is a cement core door. Right. So the whole idea is that if your boiler went funny, that this might save your house. But Mythbuster took one of these, 40 gallons worth, big, tough, very important piece, built a small house around it, about the size of this room. I mean everything, drywall, roofing, a small house, and then overpressurized it. It blew it into toothpicks, 2,000 feet in the air, and 2 miles down the road. That was 40 gallons. 40 gallons. So a 400-gallon boiler would have turned every single stone in here into shrapnel and killed the entire fucking town.
Right.
I mean, that much pressure would have gone off like a couple hundred, tons of TNT.
Yeah.
I mean, literally a lot. It would have just totally obliterated this entire block, and the shit would have flown for miles.
Right.
So that didn't happen, luckily, because here we are.
Lansing.
No, it wouldn't. It would have shot, I mean, just literally. I mean, if the 40 gallons shot at 2 miles, think of what 400 gallons could do under pressure.
Yeah.
So this is actually a very active space. Strange enough, that top step right there, that's where you want to sit if you want stuff to mess with you in the middle of the night. We had a team come in. It was a brand new team. I mean, they unpacked their ghost hunting equipment from the Amazon boxes up on the table, and then walked across the street to get batteries, because I guess we didn't need batteries when we ordered that shit.
Right.
And so one dude's standing over here, and the other guy's sitting on that step. This guy's probably trying to figure out how the fuck you work the camera he just bought. And this dude jumps up and starts, what the fuck, something just touched me. I mean, we're ghost hunters, so like, fuck, I'm gonna sit there.
Right.
I was like, don't run away, sit there. That's what
I would have stayed sitting
right?
there.
And so sure enough, he got grabbed too. And so when they got up and looked, that hole right there in the wall, they saw a shadow figure go run past up there. Because there was lights out there at that time. And so this was the lights fully on. I mean, they hadn't even really started investigating yet. They're still trying to turn their shit on.
Right.
And so they saw a shadow figure come over there. And so they called us up the next day and said, oh, that was amazing. I mean, first gig, if I can get touched and see shadow figures, that's a good gig, man.
Right.
So they say, we gotta come back Friday. And sure enough, they came back that same Friday and brought 2 of their friends who didn't even watch ghost stuff on TV. Never been experienced, nothing paranormal ever in their lives. And so what do you think they asked them to do? Hey, sit on that step.
Yeah.
And so this time they actually caught a shadow figure peeking around the corner because it came down the hallway and grabbed those 2, and then they left. But they caught it on their film. You think they could upload that shit? Fuck no. You guys catch anything cool like that, you better upload it to the Facebook page. But we've had a number of other, we do public events, so we'll bring in a bunch of people had done none of this shit at all before, and we let them use some of our equipment and stuff. And so this really young girl, because she was a daughter of a friend of mine, was setting a laser grid up on the top of that step and into the corner. And so every time she'd get over there and try to hit it with the camera to see what there was anything, including the beams, the batteries would shoot out of the laser pointer and land over here on the floor. Now, if you've got a laser pointer for a grid, you know you unscrew the back of that motherfucker.
Yeah.
It does not pop off.
Right.
It did it 3 times in a row. That stuff is up on the Facebook page. And so every time she'd get over there, it's like, ping, and it stopped. I don't think it wants us to see that.
Right.
You know, but this is a great room for cat balls if you don't have enough. I got a bunch of them. And it's a great thing for any REM pods you may have or any proximity devices. Spirit radios and call and answer devices work really good in here.
Okay.
Again, supplement them with a cat ball or with something else that requires tactile, you know, to be used. It's always nice and warm in here because, well, boilers. So yeah, that's the thing. You guys might want to bring a few chairs down from the emergency room. Just drag them down here. Just fucking leave them here. It's not good. So we're gonna come back out this way, go past the not so much horrible hell, and the fan hole. Now this just overflow for all our Halloween shit, because again, only in one holiday. But this was just a break room. So not a lot really went on or goes on in this room that we can tell. I mean, there is no place in the building that's not active of some sort. But over here on the other hand, is the other pit. Now when we first bought the place, this whole pit was full all the way up to this edge of just construction trash. I mean, just bullshit, old pieces of drywall, stupid shit, gear balls, I mean, whatever. My son, who's upstairs now, was like 5 then. He says, "We gotta clean that out. Just like your residue from my doctor up there." That's 100 fucking years ago, dude. 100 years. It's called ectoplasm. It's like green snotty shit. You saw Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. But what we found was the actual counterweight to the elevator. So that's like 3,000 pounds worth of solid steel. So it's never, ever, ever moving out of there.
Right.
And the wife thought adding a rat to it was a good thing, and I still love her though. It's good. That's just her sense of humor. But yeah, so this is kind of a neat place to set up and do any number of things. I had a team come in, and they had a table out here and had a night vision camera that he plugged in to a power strip sitting on it with the wall wart plugged in there, and recorded most of the night. And so halfway through the night, the camera picked up footsteps coming down these stairs. Doors were locked, ain't nobody walking the fuck down those stairs. And then when they got down to the bottom, all of a sudden the camera was unplugged. It didn't turn off. Something pulled the wall wart out of the fucking power strip and laid it sideways. Can't fall out. Gravity don't work that way. You know, something had to pull it out. And that was the last thing when he looked at the footage. Last thing was you heard footsteps and dunk, 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 and then black. That was it. So weird shit goes on in here. But the way it worked is elevators in those days were cast iron as well. So they probably weighed just 3 tons. And there was no first floor, second floor, third floor bullshit. You had this big Frankenstein switch. You went up, stop, down. That's it. There were no limit switches, so it wouldn't stop at the same floor. You had to just tag the landing and up a little, down a little. That's why there were elevator boys in most of the better hotels and things in those days.
Right.
Kid knows how to stick the landing. You got a job. You know, you don't want the patrons flipping and tripping over there.
Right.
So you would bring the elevator down with probably, hopefully, a dead person on it, because boring. And you would wheel it out of there, and you would walk backwards. I'm gonna die. This fucking boots. Down this step as the gurney went down this ramp into the morgue. So everybody in the morgue. Woo!
You're home. We got somebody here that actually works at a funeral home.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. You'll love the neat embalming shit. We've got a huge display of embalming shit.
Oh yeah.
We've got funerary dresses, we've got the makeup kits, we got all sorts of cool shit.
Just hate the way it smells.
Yeah. So this is where the inspection autopsy table was. It was huge. It was actually set right in the cement. That big. Dr. Stimson was right here performing a procedure on what we really hope was a dead person when Dr. Blanchard landed right there. Dude, 10 foot away after a 40-foot fucking fall to his face.
Yeah.
You know that he fucking spun. You know he felt that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's serious shit. And so then he rushed over there just to do the thing. But yeah, so this is actually kind of an interesting room. Strange enough, like REM pods and shit go batshit crazy here. And even EMF detectors, if you've got a decent one that actually has a digital readout, work really good there. Even the cheap ass Amazon ones, if you put it up there by the spider, another story of my wife, it'll sit there and then it'll just fucking red light out of nowhere, and it'll just kind of play with itself, just do the thing. There actually is a very strange electromagnetic anomaly right here, and it's so right surrounded around this hole, which is weird. This is actually the outside wall. So on the other side of this wall is just dirt. This is the city water supply. It doesn't get any more fucking grounded than copper pipes coming through the dirt, coming through steel, coming through cement. Nothing on this wall should have any magnetic fields whatsoever.
Right.
But I've seen it go from like a 250 out here to over 2,500 by this hole. That's enough to light one of these bulbs.
Right.
That's a lot of BMF. I mean, that's enough to knock your ass down if you ground it somehow.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it won't. It will, it won't, you don't know. So it's just really odd, but that's an interesting spot. So I mean, if you bring one of your EMF detectors down, just kind of play around this wall. But this room's, like I said, great for REM pods, great for proximity devices. I haven't had as much success with tactile devices in this room.
Okay.
But the proximity devices go nuts. I mean, if you bring a REM pod in and then walk out of here, it'll just start screaming without you. So just something bizarre going on. Now, kind of just an interesting thing on this wall over here, not necessarily spooky. So when they built the building, this is an original wall from the mansion. So the cement was still dry, and a workman with big hands, because what I mean, big hands, leaned in here, left a bit of a mark, and it looks like a kid leaned in here, and his pet bear, I mean, you know, bear.
Right.
And then Satan stopped by, or they had a goat. I mean, it's not Alabama, so we don't do goats in the, you guys not from Alabama, right?
No.
Okay, we don't do goats in the basement around here. It's not something we do.
Right.
You know, but yeah, so it looks like a Cloven Hoof though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does, for sure.
So that's just weird. But yeah. So, I mean, you know, we get more mileage on the Satan thing.
Or just someone had a giant ear.
Yeah, right. Right. So, indeed, an interesting room. Now, that, what they call the demon hole, and the psychics will say, don't even let your kids go near that. Fuck it, just leave that on the front porch. That white pipe is the eaves trough that's by the blue door. You guys be going in and out all day. And this was accessed underneath the porch. The only reason I ever thought it was scary is because it's always full of spider egg sacs. So the wife thought that maybe it needed a spider.
Makes sense.
And there used to be a wall that went across here. And so I was giving a tour, and some lady says, "Oh, it's a spider hole." How the fuck do you know that's a spider hole? I mean, you know, and then because I didn't know the spider until I walked around, I said, "Oh, never mind, we're good. We're good. Still love her though." All right, come back this way. You can take the ramp. You can take the stair.
Ramp would be fun.
I know, right? You know. And if you had a big person on that journey, you know, it might mow your ass right down.
Yeah, aka me.
Okay, there is a public service announcement required to go up these stairs. And it's a good one. This is one you do not want to forget if you like your front teeth. So, here's the thing. The second to last stair is a half-inch taller than the rest of the stairs. Your body's kind of miraculously going to know exactly how tall these are after you take the first two steps.
Right.
It's going to be wrong right there. See how round the front of it is?
Yeah.
That's from people hitting with their foot and then face planting onto the cement right there. Every tour I give, somebody says, "Oh, I knew I was going to be the one." Dude, I told you. Lift your feet when you get to that point. Also, another current thing to know that's very important is this is one switch to rule them all. So if you don't know of any of your teams down in the basement, do that. If there's no screaming, chances are they weren't downstairs.
Sure.
So that turns every single light in the basement off. So when you want to go dark, flip that on your way through.
Okay.
Now, when it comes time to leave in the morning, one of you guys with a little bit of strength is going to shut this door. Get everybody out, I'll show you why. And just leave it open all night. It's fine. Not open, but leave it unlocked.
Right.
You know, nobody fucking up on the house, man. Who wants to do that? But if you just push it shut, it won't latch properly. So you have to kind of lift it, and then it latches into the frame.
Lift and push.
Lift and push.
Okay.
And you'll know, because if you just try to pull it back open and it doesn't, you're good.
Right.
So, but again, it's fine now. You just leave it like that all night, but in the morning when you get ready to go ahead and lift up into it and click it.
Okay. Now, when did you and your wife purchase this place?
It's been about 8 years now.
Okay.
Coming out this way, be careful that will ice over. If it does, there's a whole bag of salt right there and some cups. Just scatter a little bit down on there and it should make that easier.
Nice job.
So all this stuff is all legit. Now these are scientific specimens. That's a dead person. This is a human. You still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta pause that for a minute.
Don't need the lawsuits either.
Right? So these are real rib bones.
Okay.
That's real tibia. This is a femur, but it's a recreation. I bought it for my wife for Mother's Day. We have hearses. Hey, dude, that's just how we roll.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
It's pretty cool.
But she'd leave it on the dash in her hearse. Somebody tries to carjack your ass and you have to hit him upside the face with a leg bone. Pretty good chance you'll never be carjacked again.
Right.
You killed that dude with a leg bone. Yeah, fuck that, man. Don't mess with that girl. Because for one, she's driving a hearse. Throw your ass in the back, and I know right what to do with that puppy. I got embalming stuff. Right. You're done. Okay, these are cool. I can only afford 2 of them. These are Mayan scrying stones. They're not stones, these are bone. These are thousands of years old. The Mayan shaman would take maybe 6 or 8 of these. They'd shake them up, throw them down on a flat surface, and the orientation they landed in would have meanings to, I mean, he's high on fucking who knows what, you know, he's making this shit up. But he's still the shaman, so you're gonna believe him.
Right.
You know, but that's how those work. They have these cute little faces. Or horrific little faces, kind of depends on if it's dark and you're not scary or not. These are human remains. So when you're playing dominoes with Grandpa, you're actually playing dominoes with Grandpa. I mean, Grandpa might not be playing, but you're playing with Grandpa.
Makes sense.
Yeah. This is actually part of the human brain.
Ooh.
Don't know who that was. That's the thing, phalanges, finger bones. So there's a variety of human remains in here, but then some of this other shit is what really starts getting sketchy. By the way, the fetal skeletons, that was another Mother's Day present.
Nice.
Hey, you gotta keep them women happy, man. If that means dead babies, that fucking means dead babies.
True.
If that's how she rolls, it's just, dude, you gotta do what you can do. Not every woman wants flowers.
Facts.
You know, some roses or this dead baby skeleton. Oh, fuck, give me the skeleton.
Right.
So this...
It's something that'll last forever.
Right. This is a scary thing. So you go to the doctor, not feeling real good. He comes at you with this. This is a very important piece. Shoves that in there like that. This is why. And it shoves all 29 inches of that right up your fucking ass. To there. Pulls this part out. Don't need it anymore. Closes the inspection window. Another important step. And it hooks up a little bicycle pump and an electrical lead and inflates your colon. Okay? This is still your butthole. And then he goes, right there. Dude, we do not pay doctors enough. Get the fuck away from my butthole. I gotta see what's going on there. Well, what does it look like? I don't know. It looks kind of shitty. Dude! So, if you see something he doesn't like, I mean, you're looking at my butthole. What the fuck is there to like?
Right.
He comes at you this. Now, another important step. Clear! I mean, he did inflate your colon. Mm-hmm. So this was like, you know, a long time ago. They didn't have that whole go lightly stuff. Who knows what's going to come flying out of there?
Right.
Then, if he sees something that he doesn't think should be there, he takes this weird little freaking raptor thing here, which is razor sharp, and then Now I can't see shit. I mean, you see what I did there?
Yeah.
So using the force, kidney, rib, polyp. Hey, we scored.
Right.
So strangely enough, this is still used in a lot of third world countries as state-of-the-art technology. Do not go to like freaking India and say, "Oh, my butt hurts." Get the fuck away from me with that. It's gonna hurt more after this. I mean, dude,
Right.
it's like 2 foot long. And as scary as that is, it gets worse. So you guys really don't need to know what this is because you've never had to deal with one. That is a vaginal speculum. Not like a duck impersonator, although it does kind of whack. So vaginal speculum. This, on the other hand, an anal speculum. The only thing weirder than dude looking up to that is holding your butthole open like this and somehow not trying to see what the fuck's going on. Now there's nothing, dude. I hope you didn't have beans because whew, right in your eye, man. That's
Right.
a quick way to get pink eye. Next, let me say it. What do you think these are?
I'm not saying it.
Say it!
I'm like trying to think of what it is.
Have none of you guys seen a porn before? I mean, hello? All right, fucking anal beads. No, it's not though, because there has to be like knots, because that's just gonna slide around. I mean, I read that on the internet, by the way. I know that myself. So this actually came from a pharmaceutical rep, and they were pushing hormone replacement therapy to the doctor. So the doctor would take these, and he'd say, no. Okay, so you're 12. So he's literally going to grab your nutsack, feel your testes, and based on the size of your testes, he's going to give you hormone replacement therapy, which is probably testosterone, which is not at all how your nutsack works. That's not really where testosterone is produced. The size of your nuts, nothing to do with how much you produce. But it's all, and it was thing, but as long as you weren't like this dude, you might as well chop it off and make it an anybody. You don't need to be a guy anymore. This is not going to get you through life.
Right.
Yeah. So most of the stuff, this is all embalming equipment. That's a portable embalming pump. There's an actual portable embalming toolkit here as well. So you would have embalming fluid and it would suck that out, blood out, embalming fluid in, and use all that stuff. Because I mean, back in those days, you were just going to throw grandpa out behind the oak tree anyway. You know, and so the coroner would come out to you and then they would do the autopsy and embalming and all that stuff right there on spot, and then out back he goes. This gizmo was actually pretty fun, although you really wouldn't want to have the fun end on you. So this is a cranial drill, and those are all surgical stainless steel bits. And so this would have been used to drill a hole in your left temple, and then they would stick a nice pick of some sort in there and go scramble, and that was how they did the first lobotomies. And the funny thing is you can control the rotation with a little lock, but you can't control that. I mean, you've all used a power drill. Slam!
Right.
Not real good if you're drilling into somebody's brain. You know, you don't want to do that. Now, to make that one look not as scary, they came up with this one.
That's the one I've
This
seen.
for the
before.
transorbital lobotomy. So they would take this, put it right up above your eyeball, and it would go through the thin bone right there and then right into your frontal cortex. And you would have to drag it in there that far, the little mark. So they would hammer that bitch in there. We actually did an overnight at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. That's where the doctor pioneered this shit. He killed over 5,000 people trying to get it right. And then they're still fucking crippled for life. You know, what's right about that? Now they drool for the next 20 years, but they're not going to bother you anymore.
Yeah, I think that is the one that they used at like Eloise.
Yeah.
For example.
Yep. So this is kind of a little bit more fun than that, anyway. Well, for somebody. So in the early 1900s, when a woman was going through that special time of the month, where no man's nutsack is safe, some guy, because no woman would ever dream this shit up, decided, well, you don't want to fix that. You pay the doctor to come out and finger bang your wife to an orgasm. She's not hysterical anymore. She might be giddy, not hysterical. Because they said, oh, they're suffering from hysteria. And so that got to be so onerous for the poor doctor. They invented the first electric vibrator. That's what this is. So this is like 5 pounds, it's like a small sledgehammer. You could chisel the fucking marble tiles out of that cement with this bitch, I'll bet. So I don't know if it was more fun for the girl, but it was easier for the doctor, and that's what counts. It's a man's world. So yeah, I keep thinking I'm gonna put new brushes in it and actually see if it worked, but my wife said she'd kill it. So these are fun, and I don't know that personally. Again, I read it on the internet. So these are called Dr. Young's Improved Dilators. It's exactly what they look like. So if you had what was called piles, what we now know as hemorrhoids, so, well, how can I get rid of that, doc? Well, just go ahead and shove this up your ass. Well, that didn't work. Shove the bigger one up your ass. It's bound to do something, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, not my butthole puckers, but yeah, it's all good. Again, medical technology, man, they're just guessing at shit. Any variety of bizarre electrical components. This is all quackery, and we have just a bunch of it. And so this is just like a small taser, and you would have a lead on here, and then you just rub this over whatever part of your body wasn't working, shock the living shit out of you, and I guess you're better now. Never worked.
Right.
But it was fun if you weren't the one getting shocked. Oh, how's that feel now? Ah!
Well, I guess we found the part.
Right? So yeah, that's fun. So over here, by the way, this is all artwork that I do on my laser etcher. That's all kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
They're all for sale. So over here is an actual voodoo doll that's 250 years old. That's from the era of Marie Laveau, and it's genuinely from Louisiana. We had it authenticated by a 7th generation voodoo priest who said that it was real, but it was a good harvest doll. And he also said that there's about a 98% chance that Marie Laveau actually either made it or supervised its making, because you couldn't have done anything that advanced without her direct participation. She was the queen. That was it. You didn't do something in her district without her knowledge.
Right.
And so it's cool, but again, voodoo dolls, pronounced voodoo, really, were your medical chart. Voodoo priests and priestesses, they were medical practitioners. So if you went to the voodoo priest or priestess and said, man, my knee's been hurting, and so she'd put like a compress on her, a salve or something like that, then she'd make a small effigy of you and she'd stick a needle in that knee. So next time you saw her, she'd look at it and say, oh, how's that knee doing? You know, so every time she did something for you or to you, there would be a mark on that. There'd be another needle that would go into whatever that area of your body was that she worked on.
Right.
And so, I mean, that was just how she knew what they'd done for you. There's none of this stick a needle and go, ow! That's all TV bullshit. These are interesting. These are infant circumcision rings. Yes, that goes right at the end of you know what, when you're a baby, and then whoosh, 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 around the edges. This kid, future in film. You know, kind of film I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Popular dude. This is usually more interesting to the girls, but this is a douche machine from 1845. I shit you not. There's a huge super tight spring here and a piston that would go in this. You fill this full of liquid that, you know, not Summer's Eve, that's for sure. And then have an applicator and a bone thing, and then you turn it in and shoot her ass across rooms. I mean, we're talking like 100 PSI here. What do you think they put in this for liquid?
Not water.
Lysol. Actual Lysol. We have pictures of this very device with some of the older Lysol bottles, because we actually have a couple of those too. But yeah, so I don't think you were cleaning as much as you were eradicating the top layer of cells. So you may not be clean, but you're fresh. It's brand new. Probably gonna be a little sore.
Right.
All right, it's kind of a cool thing over here, but these guys, on the other hand, are kind of scary. So the little arrowhead looking thing, that's an abortion device. You would shove that right up, you know where, and then it would pierce the fetal skull. And then when you clamp the handles, it would stick out like fish hook, and then you just pull it out. If that didn't work, strange enough, you'd use this chrome looking one right here. That would also go right up you know where. And then it's got serrated jaws. And you would just, and you would mincemeat the thing and then flush it out with fluids. Brutal. Now this next device is a lot more fun than that. Because what is it? This is called a paranometer. And so this was invented by a doctor whose last name was Kegel. So the good doctor came up with this amazing thing. When a woman has a childbirth by a natural method, which doesn't mean we're slicing it on there, it means she's shooting it on there, it relaxes certain muscles, obviously. So the good doctor came up with what he called pelvic floor exercises, or Kegel exercises. This is how you can tell if you did your homework. So this goes right where you think it would, whoop, and then the idea would be to, whoo. If that girl can peg 100, you've done your exercises, and you probably have a date for life. You can buy those on Amazon right now. I mean, not that I tried. Analog's always better. All right, now this little car will drive itself around if it gets excited enough. If you hear something kind of going on, it's just him having fun. There really isn't a controller for him anymore. He just kind of spins around and does his own thing. So whenever you get enough, and when we have like our public events, you got a whole bunch of newbies in here all freaking out and having a good time, he spins all over the place. So it's all the amount of energy he detects, and he'll do his thing. So, all right, I need a volunteer. You won't bleed much. Okay, so this is a neurological test tool, and you can feel that.
Yeah.
And if I'd pushed even at all, because those are razor sharp, then you would have a nice little bloody track. But this is so that if you have nerve damage, the doctor would roll this across the affected area, and if you twitch it all, he realizes you still have sensation in that area.
Right.
And so these are still used today, almost identical to what that is. Need another volunteer. I can't believe you guys didn't find, but no, I know. Back the fuck up. This, on the other hand, is an amputation knife. We will not be demonstrating what it actually does. Every group, I'll say, so I need another volunteer, and they go, the fuck, really? Just one time, and this is still razor sharp. So, yeah, this is probably from the 30s. So this would actually tear down through skin, flesh, sinew, muscle, all that stuff. And then you get to that point where you would need this guy to go through the bone. Nobody puts their hand out and says, oh, I need another volunteer. What? No, fuck that. Now this, on the other hand, is called a giggly saw. Stupid fucking name. So this was invented to do brain surgery. You would take this and go all around your head, and they would literally take the top of your head off like a cereal bowl, put it aside, and your brain's all sticking out like a bad freaking cannibal movie. And then they would perform procedures on your brain. Usually having you recite poetry or do something you're very familiar with. Nowadays, if you play an instrument, they'll have you play your instrument. Right. So they know if they, don't touch that spot again, go back over to this spot. And that was the thing. But this, on the other hand, was very popular during the Civil War because it was a rapid amputation device. Way faster than that. And just literally several seconds, you go all the way down through the leg. Bone, sinew, everything, just right away. I mean, because a shot of whiskey was your fucking anesthesia. Mm-hmm. You better be fast. Give me the bottle. Hit me with the bottle. Don't want to be conscious for this.
Right.
So yeah, that's the scary thing. And again, these are all, who fucking knows what the thing's chopped off? These are all
probably get that on
fully
Amazon
used.
too.
One of my favorite and really bizarre pieces. This was invented in 1840. And so you would open this up, put, I hope, a sterile solution in there, put it on a hot plate or burner, get it to where it's boiling, pump a whole bunch of extra pressure into it, and then you bend over and you burn the hemorrhoids off your asshole with it. And it would literally burn it completely off and cauterize it at the same time with superheated steam. Of course, now you're not going to shit for 3 months because you just third-degree burned my butthole.
Right.
I might not have hemorrhoids anymore, but I don't have a butthole either. You welded it shut. Try not to eat much.
Right.
So that's called a hemorrhoid bracer. 1840. So if you find yourself in your DeLorean and go back in time and, oh man, I can't sit down. Do not go to the doctor.
Right.
If you do, say, hey, there's going to be this great invention in a few years. This little donut looking thing is a pill. Let's go with that.
Right.
You know, don't come at me with that thing. So there really is just lots and tons of crazy shit in all these. It's just all beyond description. So take all the pictures you want. Try not to touch anything because this stuff is still razor sharp and it was actually still used for what it was intended to be used for. You don't want 150-year-old DNA mixing with your DNA. We've had a plague. We don't need another one.
Right.
So that's most of the stuff. Now I do want to show you a couple things over here. This indeed was a hospital where we never found any artifacts through all of our construction. So I found one pair of tweezers, that little tiny pair of pointy tweezers there I found in a wall. That's the only thing I've ever found that was still related to the hospital, because when it burned, it literally burned to the ground.
Right.
I mean, inside, the structure was still valid, but inside it gutted it to the studs. So a few years ago, right after our house burned down, I was down at the house just cleaning up stuff, trying to make heads or tails of it all, and the Ring doorbell goes off. And this 85-year-old looking dude is at the front door. I'm trying to figure out how the fuck to explain to him that my disembodied voice doesn't mean I'm there. I'm actually, 15 miles away. Dude, I'm not there right now, but hey, how can I help you? He says, I got something you guys want. Bought it years ago. Oh, all right, man, I can be up there a couple of, and he just wanders the fuck off. Like, oh, that was weird. And so like 2 weeks after that, dead of winter, just like right now, but there's like 2 foot of snow out here on the deck. And sure as shit, doorbell goes off again. Hey, I'm not there again. How can I help you? I got that thing. Oh, well, I can probably, Then he starts shoveling the walk off. And what the fuck, dude's gonna die on the, you're gonna be right next door, man. I've seen the show. No, sure as shit, he starts shoveling the path and then comes up with this fucking thing. Yeah, I bought this in auction when the hospital closed. It's light to the emergency room. So this is the actual emergency room light that was in this room, so that when they come in and triage the patient, that's how they saw what they were doing. And it would have been probably state of the art and so expensive they only could afford one because they didn't have them anywhere else.
Right.
But that would have one giant incandescent bulb in there, and then it would shoot the light out, these beams, and you would just tilt the mirrors to redirect that beam where you wanted it to be on the patient so you can see what you're doing.
Right.
So I said, oh, dude, that's amazing. Man, I'd love to put a plaque up with your name on it saying, hey, dedicated, blah, 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 gave this. Nah, walked off. Never heard a fucking word. Didn't say shit. Didn't know who he was. He's probably dead now. But we got that.
Nice.
Because it weighs like 60 pounds. It's all aluminum. So old dude had to carry it, so he wasn't going to do it over all the snow.
Right.
He had to shovel a spot. Now, this, I'll leave this running most of the night until it times out. This is actually some of the reconstruction that we did. And that's actually in the apartment back there where the guy still lives. But there's a variety of neat stuff in there. Some of the articles. In the middle section, there was a fucking hoarder lived there. And that was after they cleaned. It was literally, if you ever seen the show Hoarders, it was worse than that. They wouldn't have touched this girl. It was stuff ceiling high. I mean, it's just everywhere. Bags of shit, just you couldn't believe as bad as it was. So, and then she had to look at me and I said, what do you mean I gotta pay rent? Fuck yeah, you gotta pay rent. I have a family. I ain't no sugar daddy.
Right.
We're not doing this. So yeah, but it's been some things. So what we're gonna do is I'll show you this. No, fuck off. I don't want that. All right, so this is the poltergeist thing. So in this room, I had my laser etcher right over in the corner where Adia's table is. By the way, Adia's over there on the counter on this side. That's Adia under the glass right there. That's just all the stuff that people left her for offerings of her respect so they could talk to her. You can feel free to look at any of her stuff. I wouldn't suggest touching any of it, but you could probably look at all that shit. But that's where the laser etcher was. Now in this video I'm about to show you, I was down here while the wife was upstairs in the TV room watching TV. And since I got cameras everywhere, there's no big deal. And so this happened. Now what you're gonna see is I'm gonna walk away to get a knife to open up this wood right here.
Okay.
All right, and as I come walking back, this chunk of metal right here is gonna flop over before I actually get back to the table. And I didn't see it directly. I kind of peripheral vision. I heard a metal clunk though, so what the hell was that? So I thought it was this tape measure, which is metal. So I picked that up going, And then after that, I set it all back down. And this scalpel right here is going to jump over onto these slate tiles. These are stone. That's aluminum. Nothing can make that move. It's a non-ferrous metal. Now watch as I come back. When I get about to there, this is going to flop.
Oh.
And like you said, I heard a clunk. Like, what the fuck was that? And I thought, well, wait, that wasn't sitting like that. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we get used to this weird shit. But now keep an eye on that scalpel. Saw that.
Right.
I mean, it is a razor tip, didn't you? Wait, did that just jump? So it's like, I'm just going to put that over there where I can see it.
Yeah, because those aren't like...
No. And like I said, it's aluminum.
Metals.
So there's nothing could influence that to make it move at all.
Right.
But yeah, it was very simply moved. And you could see it pop out and then land over there on that slate tile.
Now, what kind of metal was that?
That's just steel. That's the steel that I was going to use to etch some stuff on. Because the laser will chop through a 2x4 in one pass if you want to. It'll also etch and engrave steel.
Okay.
It'll titanium, anything I wanted to. So that's just stuff that I had to move. But again, everything here is all aluminum. There is no steel anywhere other than that little chunk of steel. Yeah, when that jumped, it was like,
With that being aluminum, there's no way.
Well, right. It's hard to spoof that. It's hard to say, wait, that wasn't that. Now, this video, and it's just got audio, there's nothing really visually happens, was taken on the 99th year anniversary of when Dr. Blanchard fell to his death from the attic.
Right.
Now, we had actually bored through the ceiling up in that same room that I told you used to be a stairway up in the TV room. Mm-hmm. And I put a big ladder in there and climbed up into the attic. Now, up there's all that tile floor is still immaculate up there. It's been uncovered for 60 years. Nobody stood on it. I mean, since the fire, it's just been there and clean. But I put a night vision camera up there and one of my real high-end audio recorders. It records from 5 hertz to 50,000 hertz. So that's way outside of even standard recording devices.
Right.
And then I caught this just bizarre-ass audio clip. Now this is the door, that's a fire door, and this is right where he stepped into it. Whoop! Okay, nothing mechanical up there. No water pipes, no nothing. Let's see what that is. So here in a second you hear a car go by, it sounds all muted and dull. Okay, that's it. Now, we can do this.
Because I kept seeing something here. Is there like steam or anything like that?
No. If you see anything, it might be a mist. I've never really closely inspected what that's doing.
Because it looked
like I
like
said, this
something
is just a
moved
fire
from
door right
to
here.
there.
And it's still attached. But if you look down into the elevator shaft, what you see is the top of that ceiling that's out there in the stairway, and it's just a bunch of insulation. But it's down by 15 foot, so if you fell off there, you'd end up crashing through that ceiling and probably falling to your death down the rest of the stairs.
Right.
But that didn't make sense. The entire building was completely empty. And there's nothing mechanical up there. Like I said, no water pipes, no nothing but electrical wiring. And no animals get in, it's sealed. So I don't know what could have made those noises. Now, one of the mediums said, well, you know what that sounded like? If you think back to what an elevator was in the early 1920s or so, they had this big ratcheting, scissor-looking door.
That's what it does sound like, yeah.
And so what it sounds like is that somebody walked up to it, opened the door, stepped in the elevator, shut the door, and then engaged the switch. Because again, steel cables on a steel drum. They didn't have all the dampening and clutches that we do for nowadays. It's literally when you stepped in there, the counterweight had to help balance that. But when you engaged it, it would always slip a little bit on the steel drum and you would get a squeal.
Right.
And so it sounds like somebody stepped in, shut the door, and took the fucking elevator down.
Yeah.
Except for it hadn't been there for 50 plus years when I recorded this. Nothing was there. So I'm not sure what else would have done that kind of a sound.
Right.
So yeah, weird stuff happens. Oh, and the little car guy. So for 4 days, the wife painted a square on the floor. And for 4 days, it drove around in this little square, and it would drive up the edge, and it would back up, and drive up the edge, and back up. It would not go outside that square for 4 days. And then when I finally put this floor down over that, the floor, it didn't know where it was going anymore, so now it just drives around when it wants to.
Right.
But it's not like, say, proportional control. You can't drive it and make it curve where you want. It goes forward straight, turns into a car, and if it backs up, it turns into a transformer.
Okay.
Just like it's doing right now. It's like a $10 toy car, so I mean, there's not really a lot that it can do. But it was just weird that it decided it had to stay inside that small square, literally for 4 days. All right, I'll just leave it on the presentation there, and if you guys want to watch it, that's fine. Or you can just turn the TV off and just leave it alone. It'll go into sleep mode. It doesn't care.
Okay.
But this, if you get a chance to look at it, has some pretty neat information. This book actually was written by the doctor who took over this place with his practice right after the hospital closed. And he had a whole bunch of really cool stuff about the hospital that he put in this book. So we sell these for like $25. They're impossible to find because it's a little town and whatever. But you should still leaf through it if you want. Over there is a black book, which is actually really freaking cool. The wife did this. And so it actually has patient admissions over the decades.
Okay.
So these are all articles of people that were actually admitted to the hospital, what they were admitted for, whether they made it or not. And this includes all of the founders dying. And all the founders of this place died within the walls. Harriet Chapman, Dr. Stimson, and Dr. Blanchard all died here. So, but that's got all sorts of cool shit in it. Any questions?
When you were kind of like, I guess, digging through the place, was it just like you were able to find like a bunch of paperwork and stuff like that?
Fire, man. Destroyed everything. You know, anything that we've got that you see here is stuff that we've collected just over the 8 years.
Okay.
The wife gets bored of work and finds something online and says, "Oh my God, that's disgusting as fuck." Well, we need it. Yeah, we fucking need it for sure. But that's disgusting as fuck.
Right.
You know, and so that's how we come up with all this bizarre shit. I mean, those are real human teeth down there that the freaking dentist would come by and hold up to your face for size and shade.
Right.
Where do you collect human teeth at? You know, I mean, the shit they did back then, it's just, what? That's just weird. So, but yeah, it's a thing. Like I said, these are funerary dresses. This is a makeup kit to try to make Grandpa look like Grandpa again. The clear thing there is an actual butt plug. They would screw that in your butthole so you don't leak juices all out while the grandkids are, "Oh, Grandpa smells."
Still use that.
Yeah. And these weird little coupling things, those are go underneath your eyelid, and they would keep your eyes from blinking, which is going to freak the kids out too a little bit.
Right.
Grandpa just blinked at me. So yeah, all sorts of weird shit.
Yeah, I put those in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a whole case of them at work.
Oh.
They're hard to put on.
Dude, any shit that you guys are throwing away,
We
we collect this stuff.
we
Clearly, 'cause-
sometimes get rid of the stuff that we don't need anymore.
Yeah, dude, keep an eye on it. Anything you guys get rid of, doesn't matter what it is. Shoot us a message through the Facebook page.
Yeah, sometimes we get rid of
We
stuff. So.
yeah. Oh, all that stuff's cool. We got this. Somebody made this for us in the last gig, and it's actually cool because it has that underneath it. So you
It's
can use
like
like a pendulum or
yeah.
a scrying crystal, and then they had a nice little puck for this for the Ouija board.
Huh.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of it, guys. Any other questions?
I was looking at this staff, but that
Dude, the same. We did it this last. Once a year, we do this thing they call a pop-up Parafest, and this dude made this. He actually goes out in the woods, collects every single piece on here, and then makes it all into this bizarre-looking fucking thing. And he gave that to us, and that's awesome. I mean, you could beat somebody to death with it, but I don't know if I'd want to get blood on it. Not that well, it stained it much, but yeah. But yeah, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Alright. Don't go nowhere. No, you want that thing falling. So if you hear anything weird tonight, it's probably the little car driving around. That's Adia. Again, you can look at her, read her plaque, look at her shit, anything you want. If you decide you want to interact with Dia, offer her a token, man. Just anytime, like I say, it can be a penny. It can be anything that, you know, just look, this is what I got. I'd like a moment of your time. This is out of respect, kind of that kind of thing, you know.
Now, how did Adia get here?
So we knew a guy who had a paranormal museum, and he was a bit of a sketchy dude. And so he ended up having to leave the state all of a sudden, like. And so we bought his entire collection out. And so we got, that's the human sacrum came from him. And that came from him, and a bunch of other stuff. Some of our other dolls came from him, and a number of other things. So we just bought his whole collection. He didn't want it to get split up. And he'd been here a few times. Said, "Well, you guys are just about as weird as I am. Hey, you want to buy this shit?" It's like, "Oh, fuck yeah, we do. Why would we not want to buy this shit?" So yeah, we added his stuff to our collection.
Cool.
Now I'm gonna leave you my phone number. You can text me
Okay.
if something comes up.
Cool.
My phone number.
Okay.
Somewhere here I have waivers that usually I have people sign.
Is my childhood best friend here?
Alright, well, we only had one camera in here, so apparently my phone stopped recording. That's just recording.
I just did.
It wasn't done.
What did? Touch it. I didn't even do anything.
Did it just turn off?
So you gotta push it all the way down.
Alright, well... Center of the room, fuck it. That's me for sure. Bell there.